Elly De La Cruz got the call, plus we have a bunch of other news items up next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Wednesday, June 7th. Frank Stanfield joined by Chris, the Welsh. Let's talk about Elly De La Cruz, one of, if not the top prospect in all of baseball. Got promoted by the Reds, and he made his debut batting cleanup for the team. He went 1 for 3 with 2 walks, a double, and a strikeout. He had 2 batted balls over 108 miles per hour. Welsh, your thoughts on Elly De La Cruz and where he should rank among shortstops rest of season?
112 miles per hour and 108.7. Those were the hard hits. That 112 was his first professional hit. It was a double. It was the most Elly De La Cruz thing of all time. And in a lot of circles, I guess it's still debatable, he is the number 1 prospect. I've moved him as my number 1 prospect in fantasy recently. I've seen a couple other analysts have it there. And a lot of it has been those changes he did at AAA. You know, there's been a lot of like, who is this guy? And I think he's got the upside of what we've seen in Fernando Tatis around the same time. Similar strikeout rates, better walk rate in Elly De La Cruz. The chase rate isn't as concerning as you might think, but the patience and the way he's approaching makes me really think that, you know, I know we're getting excited and we're all hyped up. And maybe this is a little hyperbole at the end of the day, but like, I think he's like a top 8 shortstop. You know, we were doing the list on the full show. I was thinking maybe even 5, but when you kind of pair out the list of who's eligible, especially on CBS, there's a couple extra names. But I think it's safe to say top 10 shortstop rest of season with an upside touching into the top 5 rest of season projections, even without thinking of all the excitement, are already looking at him being close to at least a 15-15 guy, if not closer to a 20-15 guy with 100 games to go. So we can dream on the rest with Elly De La Cruz.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Elly De La Cruz getting the call from the Cincinnati Reds. Let's unfortunately move over to the bad news. Aaron Judge has a strained ligament in his right big toe and is going on the injured list. So we do need some outfield replacements. There's no one that you're going to find that's going to give you 60 home runs. I'm sorry to tell you
Not
that.
Jake Bowers?
No.
Not Willie Calhoun? Are those your replacements?
No. As much as I do love Willie Calhoun. But let's talk about some outfielders who could be available. Lane Thomas, Jake McCarthy, Lamont Wade, Taylor Ward, rather. They all had big games on Tuesday. Welsh, how would you rank that group?
Yeah, I like McCarthy for the stolen bases. He's kind of getting going. I think your cover all areas guy is Lane Thomas. And I actually think the upside guy is Taylor Ward, getting things back going. In all his struggles, he wasn't like overly striking out. He was still trying to walk. If he can get back into the good graces of hitting, being around Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, I think that works. So upside Ward. The perfect porridge is Lane Thomas and Jake McCarthy. If you want to play a little bit high categories with the stolen bases, back with the Diamondbacks, already up to 12. He has 4 less stolen bases than Corbin Carroll, and he spent time like a month at AAA, which is pretty bonkers about how he likes to run.
Jake McCarthy has been back with the Diamondbacks for 10 games. He has 10 steals during that time. It's just crazy stuff what he's doing right now.
The NL Esteury Ruiz at this point with the worst. He's actually playing like a lot of people assumed Esteury Ruiz would play with like a low 200s batting average. Esteury said, no, thank you. I'll hit higher.
All right, let's move over to the pitching news. And the unfortunate news of the day, honestly, is Jacob deGrom needs Tommy John surgery. One of the best pitchers of this generation will miss the rest of this season, likely to miss a majority of next season as well. We've seen this coming for quite some time. Hasn't thrown more than 92 innings in a season since 2019. Turns 35 years old later this month. So not really going to see him back in action until he's 36 years old. Next year, I think you could safely drop him in redraft leagues. Can you do the same with Alek Manoah, who was not optioned to AAA or AA or high A, anything like that? Florida Complex League. Alek Manoah, they're sending him down. They're trying to revamp those mechanics, get him back on track. He is still 86% rostered. Welsh, would you be okay dropping Alek Manoah?
Yeah, I think that's going to look closer to 46%. I think you're going to cut that in half, or I guess 43% if you want to get there. It's wrong. The things are messed up. He's going to the Complex League not to get innings, but to revamp. What is that revamping? We don't know. It could be the way he pitches, the pace of play. He's one of the slower guys in pace of play, and now we have a clock. It could be how he altered his pitch mix this year. He's throwing more sinker than fastball. His slider's getting destroyed. His four seam is getting destroyed. The sinker is sitting dead in zone, has an XBA over 300. All those things are not good. They're going to go and fix something, but we don't know what it is. Could he be the $1 million man? We can fix him. Maybe. It's not this year that I want to experiment or care about it. Let him sit on the wire and have to see him do it. So it's safe to say you can cut him. I'd rather stream any set of streamers, unless you're playing like a 24-man league, than hold on to Alek Manoah this year.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Audacy app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.